Okay, let's get started here. Oh, I need to fix this light. I'm going to close the window. Okay. All right, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Now, my goal at this point is to get this sphere looking as close to this as I can in terms of value. I probably don't want it to look as burnished as this is, simply because if I have to be very careful to avoid an overly polished look. So we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, I'm going to grab this pencil here and just start refining this a bit more. Bringing this value a little bit closer. And creating just a little bit more of an edge. I'm not pushing down with my pencil here, right? I still want to keep this pretty soft. Just bring this down softly. And I do need to darken this table a little bit because this table is just like ever so slightly darker. Definitely over here it's darker. Definitely in here. All right, let's just keep this nice and dark. Don't want to darken this too much here because, as I said, this part here definitely gets a little lighter, which serves to push the background away. Notice how I'm using a variety . Really want to deepen this shadow here. I'm going to deepen this a little bit here too, just a little bit, incrementally. Here we go. Okay, I like that. All right, come here. A lot of times when we want to burnish something or polish something, it's because we don't like the grainy look, okay? So the way to do that really isn't to over smudge it, it's to keep filling it in, okay, with more lead rather than smearing and spreading what's on there around. And this is a very, once, and I was no exception, you know, once I discovered, you know, blending with, you know, with my fingers or with a blending tool, I definitely over blended everything, which led to a very just overly polished look, which does not really truly mimic nature. I mean, it could also, this is also a question of whether you like that look or not. Personally, I don't like it. And I do think that it can be certainly a very lazy way of, you know, trying to take it seems like, you know, if you're impatient, oh, come on, you know, rather than building this drawing up slowly, let's go for, you know, like a cheaper trick, you know, really need to build this here. This is going to get very, very dark. Very dark. And I might lighten this. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Keep darkening. Remember, I don't want to bring it close to that edge. This reflected light is, well, it's strongest right here, but then as it comes up, it gets, you know, darker and darker, but there's still evidence here and even climbing up to this edge right here. So I want to be respectful of that. There's ever so slight shading right here. Because the last thing I want to do is keep all this the same. There's some extremely incremental values that are happening in here. So I really want to make sure that I'm paying attention to those. So this, you know, it's very, very subtle. This is going to swing like this. I am using Canson's multimedia paper, which is actually, it does have this tooth to it. So if you're using a different paper, you're going to get a different effect. It's not going to be so grainy looking. You may like it, you may not like it. It's up to you. I think for a drawing to have the greatest amount of reality, there has to be a combination of textures, okay? So if everything's very polished, it's going to lend to a feeling of unreality, right? Like if you look around your room right now, there's just, well, hundreds of textures. Well, maybe not hundreds. Well, in mine, yeah, hundreds. You know, you've got the texture of the carpet, of the hard floor, you know, got the texture of the canvas, you know, there's just so much. There's glass, right? So if you like give everything the same texture, it's not going to look as realistic, right? So I might like polish this ball and try, you know, polish this ball a little bit more by filling in all these little tiny bits, just kind of methodically removing them. But I might leave this a little bit more grainy back here, and that's actually going to heighten the feeling of reality here. I want to pay very careful attention to this edge as it bleeds out into another value, which looks like a 7 to me. If you aren't familiar with the value scale, I highly recommend you go on the internet and look up a value scale, search a value scale out, and just copy and familiarize yourself. Darken this reflected light here a little bit, and you'll see that the reflected light doesn't carry all the way to the edge here. there's it changes value once again before it hits the cast shadow here. I'm really going to push a little bit harder here. Start filling this out, pulling this out a little bit more. I'm actually pushing down a little bit harder now to get all that. I want this to be as black as I can get it down here, but just in the middle, okay? Now, when you are copying a photograph or any kind of a digital manipulation, you don't have to be, I know I'm looking at it extremely closely, but if you're just starting out, there's nothing like copying from real life, okay? So I'm not gonna, I know what works, and I know what, you know, what'll work and what translates well into building a drawing with, you know, pencils or paint, or I know what to subordinate in a photograph, and I know what to carry over into a painting to make sure that the painting works well. I really want to soften this up here. Now, when you want to cover an area and make sure it gets as black as it can be, you want to not go just one direction with your pencil. You also want to go the other way, even the other way like this. And this is going to make sure that all that white paper gets totally covered here. I'm going to carry this out even further. Remember not to overdo this. There's nothing wrong with blending, really, but you have to be extremely strategic with it. Notice how I'm not going like, you know, I'm staying right in between these two values. Okay. It's like, you know, you have a progression of 3 values here. So you have this value, you have one that's a little darker here, right? And you have a very dark one, and you want to make this look really smooth. You never go in and go like this, right? That's totally, you have to be more strategic. You have to go in between each one, because what you want is a gradual progression, right? And then you can come in and like fill in with your pencil. This is the correct way to blend, okay? Never go just, you know, no. Bad idea. Bad idea. So let's just keep this going and just stay within the area of the progression. Now I'm going to darken this up a little bit more. Carried that up a little too high, I think. Yeah, definitely. That got too dark and it ended a little clumsily up here. Okay, I think that's enough for this video. I don't want my camera to time out again, so I will see you in the next video.